believe we have everybody here. So we're going to call the meeting to order at 6:02. Did we have minutes that we needed to approve, Tom? No? Okay. So I guess we can move right into number 2348S, Nell Marie Rowland, 2-lot subdivision. So who's on the phone?
I think it's now.
Nell, is that you on the phone?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, and so I'll now this is for you and everybody else is in the room. If anybody is planning on testifying tonight, speaking, I have to swear you in. So now obviously.
My husband. Okay. Just saying, my husband Charlie Rowland is here as well.
Okay, I can swear both of you in over the phone. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm Wayne Mutrix. I'm land surveyor working for Nell,
So
and I'm here to answer questions you guys have.
Are you in?
With the neighbors,
Are you gonna speak or are you just here to listen?
just here to listen.
Okay, so do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and to the pains and penalties of perjury?
Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
I said yes. Well,
Right, so I guess before we start, Jim Robert is an abutting landowner. And so I'll let him sort of explain his position and you all can make a decision based on what he has to say.
Okay, as an abutting landowner, I have made the offer to recuse myself from this proceeding if anybody has, problem with me being on the board for it. I might point out that I have no financial interest in this, which is really the only reason that I would be required to recuse. So if nobody has any objections, I will remain on the board and vote with the board.
Hearing none. All right, so I see description on there.
Can I just say, I have prints here that's slightly different from the print you have in front of you, which I can give you guys if you're ready for them.
So, sorry, tell me your name again.
Wayne.
Wayne.
Yes.
Wayne, so if you could, yeah, it was out, and if you just want to give us a brief description of the subdivision. Because I didn't see one on the application here.
Right.
You're saying this is different from this.
This is slightly different from this print. that-
Okay.
That on top.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll say that. Yep.
Look at it. Yeah, we have one I can put on the document.
I'm sorry, what?
You have a picture to put on the document.
I don't have anything that small, although, we could put this, which isn't the full survey, but it's an outline.
Is this thermal paper?
That's old blueprint paper that I use for prep.
Oh, reminds me of moving graphs.
Yeah.
It's flashbacks there.
So the print that I left with Tom, I felt like slightly deficient on the shape requirements. And so I moved subdivision line a few feet southwesterly on the road to give a little more area to parcel 2. Nell has about 11 acres. She wants to subdivide it into 2 parcels based on the 2 dwellings that are on the property, which each have their own mound system. And in order to make the each lot have its own system on the lot, it created this jog in the line, which makes the lots irregular. The small sheet I gave you just shows that, the lots as they are now comply with the, shape requirement, having 2 acres, on the road frontage. And in this case, the area is calculated to the right-of-way line rather than the center line, even though our deed goes to the center line, that potentially could be included in the area, but we have 2 acres excluding the road. That meets the shape and dimension requirements. So parcel 1, 6.56 acres, which does go to the center of the road, has 0.13 acres within the public right of way. Parcel 2 is 4.59 acres and includes 0.15 acres in the public right of way. The dimensional requirements for the zoning rural residential, it's 150 feet frontage and minimum 2 acres in area.
And you guys do have my state approval, correct? I had forwarded that.
Yeah, we got notification this morning that but there was an existing state permit, wastewater permit on the 11 acres with 2 dwellings. And since we're subdividing and creating a new boundary, went through the process to get that permit amended. And RJ from Outback Design had an email from him this morning saying he had gotten that permit, and she just said she forwarded it to you.
Tom.
I haven't seen it, but I'm good with it.
Yep, Belinda, I sent it and
Okay,
So does everybody understand what he's doing? The dashed lines on the smaller front. You know, that's a line 20 degrees off of parallel from the front line. Which would make that 2 acres in the front a regularly shaped lot. Because it's within 20 degrees of front line. Sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh, to make it regular, meaning that since lot 1, you can obviously draw a straight line in the back. In lot 2.
Yeah, and lot 2, the back line is calculated 20 degrees from parallel with road right of way.
This is, I guess, the materials, any of the, I'm scrolling through to get to the subdivision plat review. Was there any discussion about making, just this house at 2 acres? And leaving, the rest is like, instead of 6.43, it would be 8.5.
I didn't have any discussion regarding that. We were focused on making 2 lots.
No, I mean 2 lots, but
Yeah.
instead of lot number 2 being just 2 acres.
Yeah.
These septic things, they already in. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not gonna change.
Yeah, there's nothing new on the septic. It's just an amended permit.
All right, so unless anybody has any burning questions, we can just go through the list here. For the plat review. So the drawing has to be prepared by a registered civil engineer, or land surveyor. It has to have the number of acres within the proposed subdivisions, location of existing property lines, existing easements, deed restriction and existing features, including buildings, wooded areas, roads, water courses, and wetlands, existing foundations, hedgerows, stone walls, and fence lines, and other existing physical features. And secondary natural resources as identified in Article 3 definitions, including prime and statewide ag soils. We got houses, or buildings and sheds, prime and statewide ag soil. Say that again. Prime and statewide and agriculturally rated soils.
It's wooded mostly except for the lawns. There's no.
Right, but there's soil maps that the state has that delineate where prime and secondary ag soils are.
No need for it on a subdivision like this.
I know, but it's part of the subdivision regulations. Is that?
Yeah, there's several parts of the subdivision regulations that get ignored. I think
So
that's not something that's normally put on.
I'm just reading from
It does apply to the second permitting the soils types, but that's not reproduced on a subdivision plan.
I'm reading the bylaws and this prime and statewide ag soils, meaning it's a required element.
It's not on here.
What do you mean on where?
It's not on this plan.
That's what I'm saying. This should include.
I think it's something that could be waived.
Okay, I guess I'll come back to that.
So we don't,
We all need copies of the soil.
because this is, all the infrastructure buildings are here. So I'm somewhat familiar with what the prime and ag soils are in that area. There may be some, what they would call prime forestry soils here. That's probably it. And that's the little pockets where the septic grounds actually are.
Yeah,
So you get closer to the road, where the house right next to the road is, that certainly isn't anything special. It's on a ledge. And then further back, it goes into a low area. That's not prime ag.
right.
So the amount of prime and ag soils on one of these lots is pretty minimal.
Pretty minimal. Right, well, I guess we'll sort of table that as if, motion is made that part is waived. All right, all parcels immediately adjacent, including those separated by public or private right of way. You have all of those. Zoning district boundaries, these are all in the rural district. Location and size of any existing sewers and water mains, individual or community sewage disposal systems, wells, culverts, and drains on the property. So we have, you said there was 2 septic systems.
2 now systems.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, okay.
Yeah.
The proposed lot lines, access locations, you have those, right? Location, proposed water, wastewater, and utilities, structures and their use, streets, curbs, sidewalks, pedestrian ways, and all that stuff. A vicinity map drawn at the scale of not over 400 feet to the inch. Showing the relation, which is here, location maps. Name and address of the proposed subdivision. Name and address of the owner of record and the property of adjoining properties. We got that. Date, true north arrow and scale. Total acreage of the subdivision in each proposed lot with lots numbered and identified. Yes. All parcels of land proposed to be dedicated to public use, no public use. Sufficient data acceptable to the DRB to determine readily the location, bearing, and length of every street, line, lot line, we got all that stuff. There's no time schedule for a building project phases. Copies of deeds, agreements, or other documents showing the manner in which streets and open space, including park and rec areas, there's none of that. None. Authority has access from the road. It's already been warned and mailed to the abutting landowners. Other thing I was looking for was power. I see that approximate location of underground pressure line based on the septic.
Shows power poles.
Shows poles.
On the road.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I was looking at that pressure line. The power is which ones?
It's on the street side, so you're only concerned about power along the front of the lot, right? That the lots have access to power.
Or power going onto the property? Is it buried or is it, are there poles in it? I never even looked, I guess.
It's poles. Some of it's
poles, some of it's buried roadside, yeah.
Oh, poles on the road and then when it goes onto the property, it's buried.
some, yeah.
Oh, wire fence running, okay, I was wondering what that was.
I just get it, maybe I just didn't understand what that 2-acre ring lot on the road there is.
So that comes under dimensional requirements. So lots shall have either a regular shape or configured so they contain the regular shape on frontage with a public or private road. Regular shaped lots define side lot lines perpendicular to the front lines, that's a lot of variations from perpendicular lot lines up to says 20%, that isn't different, that should be 20 degrees, 20% doesn't make sense. Rear lot lines come under the same rule, 20 degrees from parallel. So that's why in his drawing here, it shows that dash line at a 20-degree angle. No, except in the village core district, on the lot shall have a minimum width or depth dimension less than 75 feet. So it's 25. No lot should be 4 times as long as wide. So originally, that's all we had in here. Yep. In the dimension and shape. And beyond the curves, jogs, dog legs, whatnot. The last time we went through the subdivision rules, we added in this provision that if you can get a regularly shaped lot along the side of the road, we don't care what the rest of your lot looks like. It's should be treated no differently than that 2-acre lot, which is carved out on its own. It's functional.
Makes sense. Right, thanks.
So that was the first one, the subdivision plat review, so dimensional, we covered that. Frontage, it sounds like we covered that. Does anybody have any questions about the frontage?
Well, it's well over 150
No.
on both lots.
New or adjusted lot lines cannot cause an existing structure to become a non-complying structure. Doesn't look like that happens anywhere. And permanent monuments and corner markers shall be placed on all subdivided parcels. Assuming those are pinned. Looks like they are marked. Yeah, rebar. Access to lots. Sounds like we've got that covered. Route 15 corridor district, inapplicable. Usable lot, obviously both usable. Water systems, so it shows the wells. Yeah, that one's well as well. So yeah, individual water supplies, wastewater disposal, so we have both mounds. Utilities, all existing and proposed utilities and associated right of way shall be shown in the final plat. Utility corridor, there's no utility corridors. So basically, the only thing I see on this one is just where the power lines are.
It's not just roadside within, apparently within.
Is there an issue with the power line?
What's the question?
Is there an issue with the power?
Oh, no, I was just looking for it on the plat.
No, it's-
Okay.
But so it's not on.
Just the
Where the
utility
power-
locations.
Roadside utility poles.
Yeah.
All right, again, I'm just reading through the bylaws. It says, you know, that the final plat, all existing and proposed utilities should be shown on the final plat.
Yeah, that can be added. Sure.
basically just that pole, the top of my driveway.
And actually, on the,
Lines, right?
There's two lines, the one that goes from the roadside to this, to the place in the front is just an overhead line.
I mean, is there an issue with where the Hardwick Electric has the power line? Where they've always had the power line?
No, there isn't.
Or-
We were just discussing whether it should be shown on the map or not.
Okay,
they're talking about the service line from the pole to each of the dwellings. The location of those lines. And I believe both dwellings are served from that utility pole in between the driveways. Is that right now?
there is a one, goes, the one, I don't know, Jim, I mean, it's the way Hardwick Electric had always done it,
One,
right?
one feeding the house in the back comes off the first pole going down my driveway. And it goes directly to the house. The one.
That was determined appropriate.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of whether we should.
Okay.
show it on the map.
Again, this is a preliminary map. It's not a problem for me to put those in before we report the mile.
So, any other questions about utilities? Or the next one is street design and layout. So obviously the driveways are there.
That would be considered to be streets.
Not even a street, yeah, so. There's no upgrading to existing driveways or anything. There's no road names and signs. No pedestrian and bike facilities. Stormwater management, is there any, like ditching or
I'm sorry.
stormwater management? Is there any stormwater management on the properties?
No, there's no,
Some of these things really only apply to a major subdivision.
Yeah.
Which this is.
Like if you had 100 acres and you're trying to create a road in there.
Or if you're doing like lot subdivision.
Yeah.
Basically, my view of it is, we're Act
Storm
250 would normally pick it.
Mhm.
We actually have the power to do some of that. So in a town that doesn't have subdivision rules, Act 250 kicks in at 6 lots. Because we had subdivision rules, Act 250 kicks in at 9. So my personal opinion of this is we should be really looking at things that are above 6 lots. Because basically the state has put that in our hands. A lot of this other stuff.
Yep. I think we're here. Obviously, no fire hydrants, dry hydrants. Dry hydrants.
I don't know where the nearest dry hydrant is.
No, I was just wondering if they're on property. No street sidewalk lighting, no rec areas. There's no common lands, and that's it. That's the list.
Okay, so in reference to the statewide prime soils and whatnot, I would move that we waive that requirement just because everything's in place already. And there's just such a tiny amount of this lot that would even remotely come close to that definition.
All right, so we can, Tom, when you're recording this, I guess we can add that, maybe to the motion or something. Because, we have a condition, looks like we need a condition that on the final Mylar, that the power line is included and that we waive the requirement for soil delineation. Yeah, questions or?
And for me,
Entertain a motion.
I would make the motion that we accept this subdivision application with the amendments that we have put forward. Let's second that.
Okay.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, any further discussion?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, any further discussion?
Well, I was gonna ask Wayne. Wayne, I can't interpret everything. Is everything okay?
Yes,
Okay, there's no substantial, when they say amendments, does that mean there's things I need to do?
the amendment they're referring to is adding lines on the map showing where the electric service is going to the dwellings. That's not a problem. I'll take care of that before I give you the mile.
Okay, and that's basically the only revision that needs to occur on paper or on the land?
That's right.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
So whenever I make the revision, I'll bring in Mylar, and that just be approved or noted by Tom that that revision has happened, and we'll be all set.
If you want to stay.
I'll sign the Mylar. You can, I come in, we don't have to be here together. You
Okay.
can be there, I can come in and sign the thing.
Okay, okay, good.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I
Nays, abstentions. Okay, so we have conditional approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nell.
Thank you, everyone. Should I hang up now?
Yes, you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for your time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. So.
Yeah.
We are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
To Lloyd.
They're the next driveway
That's
up.
Lloyd, yeah.
Can you see the house from the road?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know when I go like running up there, like most of the houses on that side, you can't see them, they're all tucked back.
It's not really that far back, but I think this house driveway goes down and this house is up to the side.
Oh, okay, and then one of them is sort of curves or something.
That would be Nell's.
Oh, okay,
Next driveway up the line, yeah, you go down that. This curves,
yeah,
so I don't think you can see their house at all, maybe in the winter. White's, I don't think. White's got stopped in front of his place.
who's the next one up above Lloyd, that camp, the garage?
There was, and that's where there's, it's just a trailer site now, where somebody has a camper.
Oh, okay.
It's Don bought that
That's what I
property.
thought, I saw him standing on there. How many acres is that? Well,
And that's two now, they subdivided, or they did a boundary line, it was 10 acres, they did boundary line adjustment. The lines of the lot next to it, which I think at the time Clark's owned it, now they still moved.
I think he's still out in the back and then he sold one in the front or something, or is
They've sold anything there.
there's somebody, I mean, there's a family there, so there's bikes and chickens and.
So Joe Clark was the one in the back. That
Yeah.
was the father or whatever of James Clark was the one in front.
Yeah.
James moved into the back now, Joe died off, so that's life in the last couple, 3 or 4 years.
I still see him walking the dogs.
Yeah.
Not as often as I used to.
James with his big dog.
Oh my God. You got a dog team out there.
You wave to him, but he can't wave.
Yeah, God forbid like a hare or something goes across the road, they can drag him to the park.
Yeah, fortunately, they don't seem to be very barky. He's had dogs in the past that were fairly annoying.
My neighbor's got a beagle.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know if you can hear it.
It runs.
That thing's a beagle. Casey and Lizzie's.
Yeah, I hear that thing.
I bet you do.
Their sound is as thick as that swamp is. It just sounds, you'll travel
For hours and hours and hours. And
It's faint, so it's not anything that, I think maybe more in the winter, I can hear it just because the foliage is off the trees. Seems to carry.
It's been in my backyard. It kissed my electric fence one time. It was out there. I don't know what it was doing. I saw it and then I heard the yelp and it was just like sprinting down the woods. We have anything, horizon here, Tom?
And this is the Green Mountain Support Service.
Oh, that's the,
I signed it a long time ago.
that's the, what they call them, wheel carts, wheel.
Real.
Real pass.
Someone called about that today, wanted to file, and I couldn't find this, it's not in the file.
To find,
I
oh,
wonder if you guys can just sign it. There's only 3 of you. Bruce and Brian went there.
have they? Oh, yeah.
We're not recording anymore, are we?
No, we still are. The meeting hasn't been adjourned, so it's still open.
So I guess after you can sign this one. So this is the,
This is,
oh, this is findings of facts.
and someone took it, I can't find it anywhere,
So am I dating it today?
I guess. No.
I'll leave that. You can fill that part in.
Stick this in there. too.
So nothing yet.
That's nothing else.
Did they put those wheel pads in? Wheel pads?
No, I guess that was the call today, or something, it was a lawyer. Stage, some septic issue and financing issues. Haven't done anything yet.
That was a while ago.
And
So Bruce wasn't in this meeting, is that why his name's?
I don't know.
That's not.
you were there, Bruce?
The guy with the wheel pods, they're like little attached trailer things for. People not.
No,
I thought they were gonna roll right in the day after they walked out again.
I thought by rescue squad conversation, they were there, but I haven't been there, so.
yeah. And you change directors, I mean, I don't know what's going on,
Remount Support Services, are they state funded or is it?
but state of it, they were opposed.
Right, I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn unless missing something.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, saying aye. Aye.